Good morning. Well, good afternoon, actually. It is 12 something. And I just came back from this walk in the woods. I went to go do a walk and talk in the woods with the dogs. And, I talked about this before, how God always goes before us. This is so amazing. So, I love when God uses me as his vessel to speak life into people. So, 2 days ago, Adoria tells me, I like to go walking around the lake at Dalewood. It's quite a long walk. It's maybe 10 kilometers, I think, something like that. It takes us about 2 hours to do the whole thing. If we're really booting it, me and the dogs, we can do it in about an hour and 45 minutes. But it's slippery and stuff. It's like river embankments and stuff, and so you got to be careful. Anyways, so 2 days ago, Adoria tells me that there's a different entrance to the park, that you don't have to the Dalewood Conservation Area, that you can go off of Confederation Drive on Lock Ave. She said, there's a purple park there, and you can park the car, and then you can just walk through the park and go into the woods. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. Anyways, that was 2 days ago. Today I was driving down to the regular spot, and I felt the Holy Spirit nudge me to go take Adoria's way today, to do the entrance through the park. So I park my car, and I walk through the park, and I go through the entranceway, where there's these trails and bushes and stuff, and there's this young guy who's in his 20s. He's sitting on his bike. He's got his socks half off, and he's using a pipe to smoke something. I'm not there to judge at all. So, anyways, I said, oh, hey, how you doing, buddy? He's like, oh, hi, good, how are you? I said, good, and he's trying to hide his stuff. So, I said, I'm good, and the dogs were starting to go over to him. I didn't know if he had needles or blades, or if he's cutting up crystal meth or what. I don't know. So I don't want the dogs going over. So I grab the leashes and I start pulling them away, and I'm like, so I just walk away and just quickly small talk and walk. So I'm walking, doing my walk and talk. I start praying heavy on this guy. I'm praying, and then as I'm praying, I'm like, okay, God, you know what? If he's still there when I come out of the woods, then I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna tell him everything. You can use me as a vessel. I'll talk to him. I'll share with him about Jazzy and all that, and Charlie. Sorry, I'm gonna share with him about Jazz and everything, and I'm just gonna talk to him. Use my mouth, Holy Spirit, and talk to him. If he's still there when I come out of the woods. So, walking through the woods, it goes from number 1 to number 26, all these different little bridges. And the entranceway where I came in, where Doria told me, I started at bridge number 4. So, anyways, I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, how far do you want me to walk? I know I'm not going to walk to number 26. I don't have that 2 hours because I got to get online. I got to do my online schooling. So, anyways, I feel the Holy Spirit nudge me to go to number 13. And I'm like, okay, yes, I love the number 13. That's one of my favorite numbers. I love the number 13 because it's got the number 1, because there's one God, and the number 3, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So I love 13. So I'm like, okay, I'll walk to number 13. So I'm walking through. I'm praying for everybody. People like Jennifer Kellett, Troy Crandall, Raheem, Jennifer Charlton, Justin Leake, all these people that I see on my Facebook. I'm just praying, all these random people God's placing on my heart. I'm just praying for them, praying for the Holy Spirit to ignite within them and to flood them, and praying for Kelly, praying for Raymond and Amanda and my nieces and my brother Larry and Tamara and Tamara's parents, and God puts all these people in my heart. I just pray. So I'm running through the woods, and I'm praying, and I can feel a little bit of spits of rain, and I'm like, oh boy, we went through like some really hilly terrain, and I don't want the dogs to fall in the water. I don't want myself to fall in the water, because it's like big big embankments of mud and stuff, but there's really good roots. So it's like the roots were placed there for me to walk on them like they're stairs. Anyways, so I'm running through the woods, and the dogs were having a great time. And then I'm praying and I'm giving God thanks for everything and everyone, thanking God for bringing Jazz and Rob up to heaven, and just giving him thanks for placing joy in my heart, and gratitude for choosing me to be their mom. I'm grateful for the assignment that he's placed before me. So anyways, I'm praying and I'm giving God thanks and everything, and then I hit marker number 13, that bridge. So we walked to the end of 13, and then we turn back, walking back, and I'm like, okay, God, you know what, God? And I start praying heavy for, okay, if this guy's there, when we come back up, and I can't see until I get right up, like almost out of the woods, and we come up and around the bend, he's there. He's still there, and he's smoking up. So boldly, I go over to him. First of all, I gotta tell you something. For one flinch of a second, as soon as I went to where Adoria told me, like when we first went to go there, a flinch of fear was like, oh no, what if this guy's all high? What if he tries to cut you up or tries to rape you? That was honestly for 1 second, and I smashed it out of the park. And I was like, no, fear is not going to get a hold of me. Okay, so I have to make note of that, because fear can paralyze us, and it thwarts God's plans. So we have to be bold and courageous. So anyways, getting back to, I come up and around the bend, and the guy's there, and he's sitting on his bike, socks off, shoes off. He's got all these open wounds on his legs. I could see from his knees down. Okay, he's got all these wounds on him, and the guy had the most beautiful crystal blue eyes, dark eyelashes, dark hair, baseball cap. So he had to be about Jazzy's age. So anyways, I go up to him and I say, hey buddy, listen, I just lost my boy 6 weeks ago. He died of an overdose. He was 28 years old. He's like, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry about that. I said, listen, I'm not telling you that for pity for me. I'm telling you that because I don't want that to happen to you. It was what he died from. And I said, oh, it was an accidental overdose. He took something and it was laced with fentanyl. He didn't know. And he goes, oh, well, I don't do fentanyl. I said, neither did my boy. I said, they did an autopsy on him, and it only takes a couple granules of it. I said, what he took was laced with fentanyl, and it was unbeknownst to him. It was accidental overdose. That's what the coroner, after they did the autopsy, ruled his death as. He's like, oh man, that's really bad. Well, do you know where it came from? I said, no, it's out there. There's so many people, so many young people that are just going to look to get high. I said, listen, my son was a hostage to getting high. He used it as an escape. And he's like, well, I just like to do it just because it's just something to do. And I said, buddy, God's got so much more for you than this. He goes, well, I got a full-time job and everything, I just like to come here on a Sunday and get high. I go, it's Monday. He goes, well, it's just something I do. I said, yeah, it was something my boy did too. I said, he was held hostage by the enemy. The enemy told him that was good enough, that he had to get high. He was enslaved to that. He didn't need to be. So I started preaching and talking to this guy. I was there for about half an hour with this guy. He's probably thinking, lady, leave already. But no, heck no. I had to preach, I had to teach, I had to share, I had to be God's voice to speak life into this young man. I told him God has a plan and a purpose for him. He's been created for great and mighty things, and that he can't be sober-minded without the help of God, that he needs to surrender and yield to God, and God will help him through this, that he can overcome this, that he has been created for great and mighty things. So I just spoke life into him. And you know what's funny too? When I was walking with the dogs in the woods, I was like, oh God. I'm all over the place, so you can call it ADD or whatever. But I'm like, talking all these. He places people on my heart, and I pray for them, and then I think about this. I think about what am I going to cook for supper. I think about, oh, tonight, it's Monday night. I get to go to Karen and Steve's for Bible study. Oh, I love this time, me and my husband. Such a beautiful, intimate time together. And and I'm all over the map. And I was like, oh, God, could you hold the rain off until we're done our walk? I don't want to slip in the water. I don't like the stinky, dirty water. I don't want to slip in the mud. I don't want the dogs to slip in the mud and fall in the water in this lake. Teddy, no. So, anyways, I'm like, could you please hold off on the rain until we get to the top of the woods, to leave the woods? You know what? He actually held off on the rain. He held the rain off until we came up, till I started talking to that guy. And when I was done talking to that guy, out of my mouth, I said, okay, God, I planted the seeds, now you water it. And you know what was so amazing? All of a sudden, a huge downpour started coming down, hence my hair. I'm totally soaked. The dogs are soaked. I'll show you. He's soaked. Charlie's soaked. And it started downpouring. And I said, okay, God, you water those seeds. You save that young man's life. Help him, like Luke, what it says in Luke 15:17. Help him come to his senses. Awaken the spirit man within him, God. So I started praying for that. And how it started raining like that was miraculous. I'm so grateful to God. He's going to do a mighty work in that young man, and he's going to remember those words. So again, Acts 3:25. Jazz's life was not in vain. Through Jazz, all peoples of the earth will be blessed. Jazz is my offspring. Through my offspring, all peoples of the earth will be blessed. So again, here's another soul getting touched. I'm going to be blessed through Jazz. Thank you. Have a blessed day.